Hello and welcome to Georgia Sight's online needle tatting class. Today I'm going to show you how to use a floss threader in your needle tatting. Okay, needle tatters have a lot of ends. Let's get real, because you're always having to cut the thread from the ball. Okay, so what I'm going to show you how to do is to weave in a floss threader, which I've got one here that's pretty mutilated, but it still works, in so that when you're done with your motif, you can hide the tails. Okay? Excuse me. So, what I'm going to do is, you see my floss threader? I lay it on the back side of that needle. Okay? Now, I'm going to make a ring. It's going to be 3 picots separated by 3. And as you can see, I'm tatting over that floss threader. At the same time, I'm tatting over the needle. Okay? Now, once you get as many stitches, usually 3 or 4, then you can remove the worry with the floss threader. You just fold it out of your way. I'm going to give you rule of thumb. Okay? Rule of thumb is you never ever end a tail in the middle of a picot. You never ever end a tail in the middle or before or after a stitch. You want it in the middle of a stitch. Okay? So remember that. So before I can release this floss threader and continue tatting, I have to make sure I'm in the center of a double stitch. So here's our last double stitch that I'm going to put on. Okay? Let's see if we can get it to work right. And working with the floss threaders on your needle can get tedious. Okay, I won't lie to you, because they tend to get, the thread tends to get in between the floss threader and the needle. But we did it. Now what I've done is I've folded that floss threader over the back and I'm holding it in my pinch. Alright, now I'm going to do the other half of that double stitch. Okay, now I'm going to do the last double stitch for this one. I'm going to put in another picot. Let me slide my work down. Give me a work area. Okay. And put in 3 stitches besides that picot. And I'm going to get another picot in here. Okay. And 2 more double stitches to finish this ring out. And I'm going to show you. Now, we have our stitches in here. We have our 3 picots, which this one I didn't get quite as big as I would have liked, so I'll just stretch it out. I've got 3 picots separated by 3 double stitches. I have my floss threader woven in so that I can pull this tail out through my stitches, okay, and hide that tail. So now I'm going to close my ring. And you're sitting there going, how's she going to close it with that floss threader? Watch. Okay? You close it just like you close a ring. There's no difference. Run the thread up through the loop. Keep it all to the back. Take that floss threader. Force it to the back side of your work, because you don't want your end coming out the front. Okay? This is where the floss threader can get tedious. I love that word. I'm just teasing you guys. Alright, now our ring is closed. Okay? And we're going to tie off. Everything stays the same. Nothing changes. Alright? Everything stays the same. Now I've reversed my work. Now, I can continue on with a chain, a ring, or whatever is coming next. And I can leave that floss threader sit there. as long as it's not in my way or aggravating me, it's not hurting anything. It can sit there until you're finished. You can put a floss threader in coming this direction and this direction if you'd like to pull your ends through both sides. It's up to you, however you want to do it. But I'm going to cut this off and show you how to pull that end through. Okay? Now, we've got our knot. This is the tail that is closest to the floss threader. We have a knot there, so it's not going to do any damage or anything. Now you want to leave a little gap of thread. Trust me on this, because if you don't, what's going to happen? You're going to have that floss threader right here trying to pull that thread through, and you're going to distort the ring. So give yourself plenty of gap on that thread to the side, okay? So what I do is I hold it. I've got my gap. That's what's coming down. Now watch. I'm pulling, 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 pulling. And guess what? My end came through like I wanted. You see that? And all I have to do is snip it. And that's what I'm going to do. Snip it flush. Be careful, don't cut your picots. And there you have it. The back side, the tail is tied in and you don't even notice it. You haven't distorted your work. But remember, when you're using floss threaders, leave yourself a little gap of thread before you start pulling, and make sure that that gap sits like this. Can you see that? Let me get it back up here. You want that gap to sit like that so that your thread that starts coming through is down here, so that you have a little loop and it doesn't choke up, because if you distort the ring, the purpose of the floss threader is out the window. If you're going to distort the ring, why not just sew the ends in? Okay? So, that's how you use a floss threader in needle tatting. Alright? So, I hope you've learned something. I hope I've could help you learn to use the floss threaders. They're a wonderful tool in needle tatting. So, and as far as the needle tatting classes go, like I said, I'm learning as you learn. But everything I learn, I'm passing on. So, until next time, I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and happy tatting.